Welcome to part 6, the final part of your revision notes for your Shakespeare assessment. Apologies if you can hear a noise in the background, my washing machine is on. This is how professional we are, isn't it? It's brilliant. So your final part is Act 1, Scene 3. When you come to the assessment, we'll tell you a suggested order to put these sections in. It isn't necessarily the order we've done the videos in. So this is Act 1, Scene 3, and this is really to show the difference between Lady Capulet and the nurse in their relationship with Juliet. So you'll see here that Lady Capulet has a very different sort of relationship with Juliet than the nurse. The nurse is much more of a kind, caring mother figure to Juliet than Lady Capulet. So, they're talking, excuse me, they're talking to Juliet generally, and the subject of marriage comes up. So the nurse starts with, "Thou was the prettiest babe that e'er I nursed, and I might live to see thee married once, I have my wish." So what she's letting on there is that she actually nursed Juliet. She literally brought her up, she breastfed her, she brought her up as her own child. It was done in those days. If you were rich and posh, you employed a nurse or a nanny, and if that nurse or nanny had just had children of their own, babies of their own, they would also breastfeed your children. So she has literally nursed her, breastfed her, and brought her up as her own child. And then she says, "If I might live to see you married once, I have my wish." And that's something a mother would say, isn't it? Oh, you know, I live to see you married. I really, really want to see you in a wedding dress. So those sentiments are things that a true mother would say to her daughter. Lady Capulet sort of joins in the conversation and she says, "Marry." And marry here, the first marry, it's just an exclamation. It doesn't mean marriage. "That marry is the very theme I came to talk of. Tell me, daughter Juliet, how stands your disposition to be married?" Now she says here, daughter Juliet, but it's not a particularly motherly thing to say. She could say dear Juliet or my darling or something like that, but she just says daughter Juliet in a very descriptive way. How stands your disposition to be married? In other words, how do you feel about being married? Juliet says she hasn't thought about it. Nurse says, an honour, exclamation mark. "Were not I thine only nurse, I would say thou hast sucked wisdom from thy teat." And she refers here to the breastfeeding, sucking a teat, if you'll excuse the expression. And she also says, were I not your only nurse? In other words, we know here she was the only person who brought Juliet up and the only person who breastfed her. Juliet's own mother did not breastfeed her. The nurse had that responsibility. And she can't believe that Juliet hasn't yet thought about marriage. Again, a motherly thing to say. So Lady Capulet says, "Think of marriage now. Younger than you, here in Verona, ladies of esteem are made already mothers." She's very keen to point out that posh ladies of esteem, that means posh, well brought up, high bred ladies, are made already mothers. So her argument is, you need to get married because you're getting on a bit. There are people younger than you, posh ladies, younger than you, who are already married. So it's almost like a social status thing for her. In order to be seen as posh, she needs to get married pretty quickly. So does that suggest perhaps that Lady Capulet is more interested in social status than in her own daughter? "By my count, I was your mother much upon these years that you are now a maid." So we learn that Lady Capulet was around Juliet's age when she gave birth to Juliet, or when she got married and had children, because we know they've got other children. They had other children. But she says, "I was your mother much upon these years that you are now a maid." So to Lady Capulet, it's perfectly acceptable, perfectly normal that girls should get married at this age. The nurse says, "A man, young lady, such a man as all the world, why he's a man of wax." So she's really describing, this is Paris they're talking about, obviously, not Romeo. So think about this man, look at him, oh, he's gorgeous, he's a man of wax, he's carved out of wax, he's the perfect man. Then Lady Capulet, "Verona's summer hath not such a flower, nay, he's a flower, in faith a very flower." It's almost like the nurse and Lady Capulet are almost fighting over Juliet here, to trying to get her attention and praising Paris. Almost fighting for who is the mother figure, who is the best mother, and they keep interrupting each other with more and more things to say about Paris. Lady Capulet, let me just lift this up, hang on a second. Right, Lady Capulet says, "What say you? Can you love the gentleman? That book in many's eyes doth share the glory that in gold clasps locks in the golden story. So shall you share all that he doth possess by having him making yourself no less." Now if you look here, we've got words like glory, gold, golden, and all that he doth possess. This indicates that Lady Capulet is only interested in Juliet marrying Paris because he's rich. Again, it's this idea of social standing, making sure that her daughter marries the right man, not the man she loves, not the man she's going to be happy with, but the man who's got the money, the man who's got the gold. And if by marrying him, she will share all that he doth possess. She will share all of his possessions. So she's very keen for her daughter to marry well and marry somebody rich. And her last line is, by having him, making yourself no less. And then the nurse joins in and makes a joke out of it. No less, nay, bigger, women grow by men. And that has two meanings. And the rude meaning is that when you get married, you get pregnant and you grow. Your stomach grows because you are pregnant. So she's making a little reference, a little joke there about sex. So Lady Capulet is more interested in the business side of the relationship, whereas the nurse is much more interested in the intimate, physical and emotional side of the relationship. And the nurse here definitely has the stronger relationship with Juliet because she brought her up, she's very caring, she is excited about her getting married. Lady Capulet treats it like a business proposition. Okay, so that's the 6 scenes all done. When you get to the assessment, we'll give you a blank copy of the 6 scenes. We'll put them in order for you to suggest a way that you could work through them. We can't really help you much more than this, but we could put some bullet points in there for you, and obviously the title at the top. Okay, so good luck in the assessment. I hope these videos have been useful. They're not as high-tech as Mr. Reese's, but they have the same quality of content. So good luck, everyone.